Hello, everyone. This is Devin Thorpe for the CrowdFundBeat, and we've got a remarkable and somewhat different exercise we're doing today. We've got the founders of SpeechTrans, John Frei and Yan Auerbach. And John is the CEO. Yan is the Chief Operating Officer. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us.
Our pleasure, Devin.
You know, it's a little bit different to have you because you are, we do have a lot of interviews for CrowdFundBeat and we talk about a lot of things, but this is one of the first shows we've done where we're really talking about raising equity at the time the equity offering is still going on, and in part that's because the rules around this are relatively new, and so relatively few people have done it. We're glad to have you here as one of our first cases of a real crowdfunding offering in the live stages. So thank you very much for joining us for that. John, why don't you take a minute and just tell us what SpeechTrans is, so that we have that as to frame our discussion.
Absolutely, my pleasure, Devin. So SpeechTrans is a software that we developed that allows for speech-to-speech language translation. And we do that in over 40 different languages across platform. So we work on iOS, Android, BlackBerry, and Windows phones, as well as any PC or Mac device. And we built the technology out to work over any landline telephone call as well.
That really is
allows
remarkable technology. So,
yeah, it's incredible. It's like the universal translator from Star Trek. It allows you to eliminate language barriers and talk to anyone in the world, no matter what the language is.
So, Yan, you have been involved with the development of the technology. You were originally the CTO. Tell us a little bit about how the technology works, just in lay terms, if you can.
Yes, absolutely. So, what we did was we developed a platform for companies to use to be able to activate their applications with their voice, regardless of what device that application is running on. As an example, Hewlett-Packard has taken our API and has enabled speech-to-speech translation in their video conferencing software called HP MyRoom, which is preloaded on every PC that they ship, 10 million going out this year. In addition to creating the API, which is the background servers that are needed for any app to run, we also created our own apps that run off that speech-to-speech translation API to show other companies best practices while also being implementers and allowing our expert assistants to embed into their technologies with companies such as Cisco, HP, Intel, and Microsoft we've worked with.
This is really exciting technology, but we're really here to talk a little bit about the offering. John, I wonder if you would tell us a little bit about your capital raising history and what you're doing now.
Absolutely, Devin. So we previously closed a seed round with initially family and friends, and then we were fortunate enough to present to Jumpstart New Jersey Angels. And we had 9 members, which is unheard of, participate in our seed round of $320,000, which we raised in 2011. With that money, as Jan mentioned, we're able to build out strategic partnerships with companies like Hewlett-Packard, where our API is preloaded. Microsoft is a managed partner. They've given us over thousands of dollars of funding to help us develop our applications to work on the Windows 8 platform. And Intel, who we're going to be one of 15 must-have business tools that's going to be preloaded on Intel devices that ship out each year, and I believe the goal is that they ship out about 40 million a year that have the Intel chipsets in them. So we're really excited about getting this technology out there to the masses, and we're currently looking to raise our Series A round to further scale the business out. And so far, we're looking to raise $1.3 million on a $5 million pre-money valuation, at roughly $5 a share, and so far we've closed about 460,000 in the Series A round to date.
So let's just do some benchmarking here. You've given us an indication of the value. What's your trailing revenue over the last 12 months? What do you expect to do this year?
So last 12 months, we've switched our business model. We were originally a paid application, and we went to a freemium model to try and capture market share. So that's our go-to-market strategy, where we're giving our mobile apps away for free. And we're really going to be monetizing off of the API, the licensings to the HP. So we've generated a little bit over 100,000 in 12-month trailing revenue. It's down from when we initially launched, where we had over 150,000 in revenue in 2011. And our forecast with the HP and with some of these other contracts, we recently contracted with the African telco to make our over-the-phone service available to their 50 million subscriber base. Is that for 2015, we're going to generate over 2 million in revenue, and it's going to scale up to over 9 million the following year, 15 million, and so on. And our goal is to try and capture 1% of the translation services market, which, according to Gartner, is going to be a $150 billion industry by the year 2020.
So that would be a good little business you'd have there. So,
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the offering process. I don't want to get bogged down here, but where do you have the offering listed? I believe it's on RockThePost, but not just there.
Yeah, so we're currently listed on RockThePost, and we also have our offering available through AngelList.co and Gus.com. So those are the three crowdfunding platforms that we've been using so far, and we've seen some success in raising money there, as well as our own efforts outside. We're fortunate enough to get involved with the Oxford Club, and they made introductions to their accredited investors, and we're able to close some of the, the 460,000 that way.
It is an interesting era for raising money because it's sort of a hybrid process, isn't it? Where some of the old school, press the flesh kinds of skills are still required, and yet things are moving online. How are you seeing those work together or at odds as you've been raising money?
So they do complement each other. I mean, there's no secret formula to success. You got to beat the streets. You got to approach both avenues, and we have. We're doing the crowdfunding online platform with RockThePost and some of these other avenues, and that's good exposure for us. But you still have to go out and meet the accredited investors. Do the live pitches in front of them. And Yan and I are actually heading out to Palo Alto in the middle of September to do a pitch to U.S. Angels. So we're very excited about that opportunity as well. And in conjunction with RockThePost, I think we'll be able to close out our Series A round of funding in the near term and focus on scaling the business out over the next 12 to 18 months, and then raise our subsequent Series B round.
As you're working on this, I'm just interested in the logistics around the closing. Will you kind of do this the old school way? You're going to mail out documents, or do one of these three platforms have a closing process you'll use for everyone, or will you close people on all three platforms? I'm curious how you'll go through that process.
Yeah, so it is a little bit of a piecemeal where we have to close separate accredited investors based on each platform. So far, we've definitely been handling the process ourselves, and we've been trying to do it in an automated fashion to help mitigate the time and the documents in the process. So we make that available all electronically. We can sign the documents electronically, send it to the accredited investors. They can countersign it and send it back. And then upon receipt of their investment, we would mail them the stock certificate. On the platforms, I believe RockThePost does offer a whole slew of services that allows you for them to manage that process for you, as well as collecting the funds in escrow and releasing it upon closing. So we've been fortunate to be able to work with a company like RockThePost. A while back, Yan and I were actually part of their demo day pitch, and one of 5 companies, and we were nominated the highest rated overall in our pitch in terms of product and marketability. Well,
Yan, you come at this with a little bit of a different perspective, if only because your native language isn't English. You're obviously a fluent English speaker, but Yan, tell us a little bit about why this translation business is interesting and important to you.
Yeah, so when I was in elementary school, I was actually pulled out of my class one day because there was a gentleman suffering from a heart attack and inside of the school, and I was the only one that could speak Russian, and there was no way for them to get a translator there fast enough. So I actually translated Russian for the EMS and was able to help save the person's life. So when we hear stories like that about people that are actually in trouble, we had a EMS worker that actually used our app to save someone's life. That's the kind of things that motivate me. And coming here from Moldova when I was 3 years old, my parents came here as refugees. So I understand the process of having to go through and learn another language. And if you can do it through technology, and my background before starting this company, I was with the world's oldest venture capital firm, Bessemer Venture Partners, as their systems administrator. So I've seen how a startup can become successful very quickly, and how you can line up all the puzzle pieces together to automate it. So we've been able to do things like automate deal flow. Like at Bessemer, they have deal pipeline that puts through venture deals, where we created our entire pipeline that puts through our convertible note round or our Series A3 funding round in a fully automated fashion. So we can focus on the contracts and then have the business side set it up once, and then we don't have to do it again. It's automated moving forward.
That's I love your story of translating in the grade school. Was that here in the U.S. or was that in Moldova?
That was in good old Bronx, New York, U.S.
Fantastic. Well, I love the story. Now, John, why is this translation business important to you? Why did you go there?
So, Yan, I'm also bilingual. I spent 6 years of my life growing up in Switzerland, so I had to learn firsthand what it was like to learn a different language and be immersed in a different culture. And then when I moved back stateside, it was like a relearning process where I had to take English as a second language class. So about 6 years ago, when my younger brother Michael and his fiancée Shireen were planning a trip to Switzerland, she told me she was using Rosetta Stone, and my first thought was, man, why didn't they have that back in my day? That would have came in handy. And my second thought was, with today's technology, there's got to be a better way. And so that became my quest, and I started playing on my computer using existing technologies, and I was able to speak into a nuanced product where it captured my text, and I was able to copy and paste that into Google Translate and translate that into German, and then copy and paste that into a text-to-speech. But when I heard the audio of what I said in English spoken out loud in accurate German, I knew that that was a eureka moment for me. And I shared my business vision with Yan, and we've been partnered ever since March of 2010, so a little over 4 years now, and we're excited about the future opportunities and growth for the business.
Well, it really is huge. I remember I worked with a startup that did translation services going back a little more than a decade ago. And even then, and this is not 1970s, right? I'm talking about this century, and a guy that was at the leading edge of this technology, and he said, what you're doing could never be done, and yet you are doing it, and it's exciting to see how quickly that has developed. So I congratulate you both and wish you every success in growing your business and in closing this round. And thank you very much for taking the time to be with us. John, before we go, why don't you tell us where people can go? Where do you want them most to go if they want to learn more about your offering?
So they can go to our website, SpeechTrans.com, and we have an investor link there where they can sign up if they want to learn more information. We'd be happy to send them our deck and all the relevant information for them to do their due diligence to see if this is the right fit for them.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, John and Yan. I really appreciate both of you taking your time today, and do wish you well.
Thank you, Devin.
Devin, thank you so much, and have a great day.
All righty. Let's do some good.
Take care.